Yeah.
Enemies galore.
They stir below. Terrible, tireless servants.
Oh. I'm going to go into them, so get going.
Yeah.
Right, look in the centre. It took a week of back-breaking labour, but the boat is finished. It may not be entirely watertight, but it'll be enough to get across the lake and back. He set off from shore, the icy wind filling the sail. Satin grins at you. He expressed the most doubt that the boat would float. A moment later, he's gone, barely managing a scream as a gigantic tentacle yanks him from the boat and under the water. More tentacles emerge from the water. The air is filled with the sound of crackling and splintering wood. As the boat gets pulled apart, you dive into the water without a second thought and begin swimming madly for shore, hoping your friends are doing the same. Your heavy furs weigh you down, but by some miracle you make it to the land. You hear a burbling sound and look up to see one of the fish people, a languith, standing over you, his spear raised. You rise to your knees, your hands raised, showing you have no weapon, that you pose no threat. It makes a sound again. Wait, you start to say, but the creature drives its spear deep in the chest before you can say anything else. Mercifully, the agony is brief before the world fades. Jeez, no luck at all, Pally. If you had any luck, it'd be not no luck at all. Yeah, I'm not really going to explore. I'm just going to get straight to the end because, like I say, really much. A span of ice floors separate two larger sheets. The floes continually roll the water and bump into each other with arrhythmic cracks. Despite their unstable positions, the floes are packed tightly enough that it's possible you could leap across the span. Still, anyone short of grace and balance stands a good chance of sliding off the ice and into the frigid water. Cast Spell of Frost on the ice. As you work your magic, the water between the floes crystallizes into a sturdy lattice of clear ice. Given the size of the floors, it's unlikely to keep the whole span stable for long. In fact, you can already hear the few of the larger pieces cracking against the temporary mooring. Your weight causes a number of floes to crack and shift dangerously as you cross, but the magic holds enough that you aren't launched into the water. With careful deliberation and cautious movements, you reach the other side safely.
Yeah.
Easy. Easy, easy. Right, so I've got a couple of bits and bobs. So I've got you. I've got... That's all I've got. Oh, there we go. Flare. Heavy cannons, 1 per rest. And 2 per rest. Jeez, man. You can just launch all of them. That's cool.
Join arms. Huh?
That didn't go as planned. Oh, that's not good. Let's not do that, folks. Alright.
Yes? Rift! That's it!
My mind feels sharp as steel. Dead on!
Ooh. Lovely. Columns of water rise up from the pool in front of you, shifting and whirling, whipping air around them in a vortex. This can only be Ondra's here, appearing before you at a fraction of the size typically reported by mariners unfortunate enough to encounter them in the high seas.
You have done well to have come so far. I confess I was not certain you would make it, but I do not wish to give false hope. The greater challenge remains in front of you.
The eyelets have to be stopped for the good of Deerwood.
Running through the core of this rock is a large growth of crystal. You will know it when you see it. A blow to the crystal would reverberate through the walls of this place. Strike it enough and the entire structure would crumble. The eyeless would be buried. Of course, it would take a person years to cause enough damage.
But not with the help of the eyelets.
Then you know what must be done.
I think I do, yep.
Strike the crystal with Obidon's hammer. The eyeless will wake and come to its call. Join in striking the crystal. They will cluster together and bury themselves.
Bury themselves.
I have realized it is best that they should be ended, for within each of them is a small piece of Obidon himself. Upon their deaths, those fragments and the memories they contain will be safely dispersed. I had not considered the dangers of allowing them to persist, until a watcher appeared at my abbey.
What aren't you telling me?
A single strike upon the crystal will not be enough. The eyeless respond only as long as the hammer rings. You will need to remain until their work is complete, wielding the hammer until the walls come crumbling down.
I trust this what had to be done, unfortunately.
The eyeless cannot be reasoned with or fled from. One day not far from now, they would kill you and level the Deerwood.
Well, that's brilliant.
You have seen what they will do. This is the way you can stop them.
This is the way.
And the truth is that you are marked by the eyeless for a reason. It would be better for all if the things you have seen were forgotten.
Crushing's a bad way to go. Maybe we should just hang ourselves.
A great sacrifice for a greater good.
Greater good. The waterly columns drop all at once back into the pool, sending up a small splash. The pool settles and look down into it. You see only the faces of you and your companions alone and condemned. I can hear them.
Laying low.
There we go.
Ready, Watcher.
Get to it. Make it happen, Cap. A ridge overlooks a broad chamber half flooded with lake water. You could crawl down this way, but it looks too deep and slick to climb back up. Oh, got no choice. Oh, hello there.
One of Vondra.
What a fun little monster. Now, what I've been told is just run, and you'll be fine.
Ancient creature.
Oh, why
I'm
I
here.
can't move?
So much
Why can't I move?
beyond her control now.
Don't just run, and you'll survive.
Aye?
So that's what I'm going to do.
One of Vondra's ancient creatures.
Beyond seek. I bring your end.
Dead. Oh, here we go. Okay. Why can't I use this? Alright.
Your thoughts must flow deeply indeed.
Yeah.
Dead on!
Yep. So, as you said, just go straight into it and it will eventually die.
Lava will be on. See.
Can't get a good shot with this.
Got him.
Nice. Yeah, I wish there was more like battles like that. That was class, man. A bit quick, but like I say, this is easy mode because, like I say, I couldn't swip over to normal mode because it just kept crashing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Cool though. All right. Oh, I guess no, the only thing I can do. An enormous crystal juts from the wall like a spearhead protruding from a wound. An army of reflection stares back at you from the crystal's perfect facets. It echoes the sound of your footsteps in soft, ringing hums. Someone will have to take up Abaddon's hammer and strike the crystal. And Andra warned that whoever does so will be buried in this place with the eyeless. Whom do you choose? Myself. Draw lots.
You have led us bravely. It has been an honor to follow your lead.
The gods really have it in for you. I wish they knew you like I did.
As long as I live, Masuk will sing your name alongside Persok's.
Your sacrifice will save many lives.
Straight into the fire, then. Your chances aren't favorable, but at least you've learned to embrace the test. I told you I'd be good for you, Watcher.
Watcher. You take the diving helmet and tuck it away, just in case. So that's what that is. You heave the hammer and swing it at the crystal. A perfect clear tone rings the air and resonates through the teeth. Seconds later, ripples shiver through the water. Something big is coming. You give the others a final nod. The rest of the party scramble out of the flooded cavern and flee through the tunnel. You continue hammering the crystal, each strike magnifying the last. The echoes build into physical tremors. Meanwhile, a heavier rhythm pulses through the cave, footsteps, dozens of them. The others round a corner only to see a line of eyeless advancing. The creatures stagger to the rhythm of the hammer thuds below, yet they crane their necks towards the party, ratcheting backs their piston arms. So, I could do a lot of stuff here. Jeez. Mirror image. Man, I can do a lot of that. Wow. Who has smoke bombs in? A rogue? Halo likeness appears along the tunnel. The eyeless roar and lunge fruitlessly at the images. Dodge past the eyeless. The party sprints past the distracted monsters. Fortunately, the creatures are too focused on the hammering to give chase. They continue towards the cavern. You maintain a steady tempo on the crystal. Eyeless gather in the cavern, where they batter the walls in time with the hammer's rhythmic blows. The ground shakes, falling rocks and shattering crystals splash to the ground. The party flees through the dark, rumbling corridors. More spellbound eyeless shamble along, but they're too entranced by the swelling cadence to make more than an idle swipe at the party. The tunnel narrows, light filters through ahead. The exit must be around the next bend. But it's clogged with rubble. Meanwhile, the ground drops several feet at once. The tunnel begins rolling on its axis. The distant sound of rushing water echoes from the cavern. Lander's frenzy. Ah, so anyone can do that. Durance, consider who will do it. Fury descends and fills Duran's body with desperate violent strength. Duran passes a path through the rubble. The moon shudders again. The party escapes onto the ice just as another thunderous crash sounds from below. Eyelids continue pouring into the caravan from every visible tunnel and crevice. Your ears ring at the ever-growing cacophony of smashing rock and shattering crystals. Meanwhile, the water level is rising. A skull-splitting crack rends the air, and a surge of water knocks you from your feet. The entire cavern rotates, plunging you into the freezing soup of jagged metal, torn flesh, and stone. The others dash across the lake. The ice squeals and crackles, rocking dangerously underfoot. The sinking moon roars. Long fissures race across the ice. Scout for a more suitable place across. The surface ice is riddled with cracks. Only someone who knows what to look for can find safe passage. Definitely going to be Sagani then. Sagani charts a careful path across the ice, skirting cracks and dodging thin patches. The rest of the party follows. At last, everyone reaches the safety of the shore. In the middle of the lake, only the tip of the moon is still visible above the ice. The survivors watch in silence as it sinks into the depths. You trudge through the rubble of the lake bottom. The water is freezing, the air in the diving helmet is acrid, and the sound of your own breathing roars in your ears. Still, better than drowning. You navigate out of the settling rubble and see the ghostly light of the surface above. At last you reach the shallows. You punch through the thin crust of ice and crawl ashore, trembling but alive. Awesome. Okay, you stand at the edge of the lake. The bubbling of the ice and the rippling of water surface slows until you're looking at a moment frozen in time. When the world begins moving once more, it moves in reverse. Okay, the surface of the water churns and roils like it's about to spew something up, and it does. The fragment of Ione Braffin rises unbroken. Ice reforms across the surface of the lake, spreading in long, freezing fingers. Eyeless file out the moon fragment and onto the ice. They wind around the moon in an ever-widening spiral. They stop at the head of their line reaches you. They speak in a single voice that resonates with the grinding metal and hissing steam.
We shatter and sink, discarded like worn tools. Why have you consigned us to oblivion?
Here we go. You would have killed many innocent people. You would have destroyed Kednir Dugan's battery and more. Their protest is as sharp as squealing metal.
Blasphemy! These are jewels of civilization. They are sacred. We would sooner sacrifice our own bodies than dislodge a single stone from such a place. Why do you torment us with baseless accusations?
Thunder changed you from a preserver to destroyer. Is that right? That's what I did last time? I think so. The eyelids are still, but you hear the gears whir as their collective spirit ponders.
Then we were betrayed.
Certainly were betrayed. Yes, you were. Yes, you were transformed against your will.
And we were made to betray something we cherish.
Feel their pity agony like a hammer strike. And what was that?
The bedrock of civilization.
Suddenly they attack the ice beneath them, slicing and shattering it with mighty swings from their iron arms. And where the ice breaks, ancient towers rise, floating out the sky and white peaks. This is Engwithin.
Each culture builds on the bones of the last. Yet many only look up at where they would go, never down at the foundations that bear them.
Like a mason who builds a listing tower.
The remaining ice sheets cracks and groans.
What peril do they inflict on their progeny? And what dishonor on their forebears?
You hear the strain of crumbling stone and the voice of the eyeless. Think it unwise to forget the past?
It is unwise to douse a lamp in darkness, to cut the legs from a table. This forgetting is suicide. Heresy. Every advance in the crafts and institutions of Kith was forged by skill and sacrifice.
You feel these words and the anger behind them in your bones.
A people cut off from their history will wither, and they deserve no less.
No, they'll be free to choose their own path. Then what do you suggest?
A path that leads in circles. That is why we must return to ourself and restore Abidan. When Ioni fell, Abidan lost much. His will to preserve, the memory of how and why he died. But he built us with fragments of his own soul. In returning, we can restore what was taken from him. We shall see this world and its people restored.
When shoves as your back, your ears pop and you feel for a moment as if all the air has been sucked from the sky. Suddenly it ends and you're standing in the snow looking over Crane's star.
The eyeless disappeared beneath the lake, their bond to Andra finally severed. With this threat ended, hope returned to the White March. Hunters returned to the wildernesses, and travelers to the roads. Tales of the Watcher's bravery replaced stories of monsters in the woods. The villagers of Stalwart busied their hands with work and their tongues with song, eager to seize on the promise of peace.
Alright folks, it's time. Assemble the army. Let's go, mate. Let's march. Let's take Cad Noir for mine, and mine alone, for it is mine. As you crest a small hill overlooking Yenwood Field, Lord Gabin's army is in a flurry of activity, scurrying to and fro. Even from this distance you can hear the drums of war beating their steady cadence, designed to intimidate their foes, with organisation the ranks and file into battle formations. Marshal Forer approaches. You have arrived just in time. Lord Gabin's forces are beginning to move. An attack is imminent. Inspect the forces. Local militia constitute the majority of the army, and veteran soldiers have unorganised the ranks and walk amongst the young, unseasoned warriors offering advice or the occasional joke. They cheer, strike and sword to shield as you pass, in thunderous approval of the Lord. Some marksmen from the dozen make final preparations for the upcoming battle. They collectively sing a ballad tavern song as they meticulously clean arborists, nearly as tall as the man. You pass a group of crag ogres working themselves into a frenzy. They carve jagged wounds across each other's chests and back, their war cries echoing throughout the camp. Your troops give them a wide berth, and a squad of Viserion pathfinders make ready for the upcoming battle. War bows are strung and quivers are filled as you pass. One of the archers spots you and whistles. Silently each of them place a crossed fist over heart and salute. Any idea what Gabin is planning? His ultimate objective is to face you in battle and to be seen defeating you. I doubt he is foolish enough to challenge you in single combat. Alright mate, sound the horn. Marshal Fu begins barking orders and your troops quickly form up. Gabin's army follows suit as the Darien war drums echo across the field. raise your weapon above your head and scream. Yeah. Oh. Dozens of bowstring twang in unison behind you as your archers release a hail of arrows at the Grafaflin army. The missiles hiss through the air with deadly accuracy, felling scores of enemies. In a bold move, Gavin points his sword towards your position, giving an unheard order. As infantry, shields raised, charge the field. Your infantry charges headlong into the enemy infantry in the centre of the field. The cacophonous sound of metal on metal is nearly deafening as the two forces collide. The fighting is fierce and the screams of the dying numerous, led by veteran warriors, rallied to your cause. The troops fight valiantly and appear to be holding their ground. The battle thus far appears to be a stalemate. Then a group of Iberian battle mages are bent from behind the enemy lines. They begin waving their hands in unison with practiced precision. Suddenly, waves of arcing fire erupt among their troops. The acrid smell of smoke and burning flesh is nearly overwhelming. From the left flank, a unit of Ruatai berserkers, clad in plate armour and wielding great swords, begin to collapse the left side of the line. The ground is thick with the dead as they press their advantage. And meanwhile, Bleakwalker's paladins dressed in dark armour and carrying sword and shield stride back and forth behind Gablin's lines, rallying his warriors and exhorting them to fight harder. As the battle rages, Marshal Ford looks for you orders. The battlefield. Your troops fight bravely and your lines are holding for the moment. Gablin's army is slowly pushing you back. Casualties mounting. Defeat is likely. Take out the berserkers. What unit should I send? Berserkers are the dozen. The arquebusiers quickly form a line and unleash a salvo of gunfire on the charging berserkers. Bullets tear through their plate armour and the berserkers fall by the score. By the time the berserkers realise the danger and attempt to charge the gunmen, another volley rips most of them into pieces. Those left standing quickly retreat. While the line is held, you spot dozens of your own troops killed by gunfire. As the battle rages, it looks to you, so deal with the battle mages, the ogres I believe. The Crag ogres charge the Grafin lines in a blood frenzy. Using their size, many of the ogres leap over the enemy line, ignoring grievous wounds, while many fall. Nearly a dozen reach the battle mages. A high-pitched scream permeates the din of the battle as you see an unarmed ogre lift one of the mages overhead and rip him in two. Shortly after, the magical barrier against your enemy's army ceases. And Bleakwalkers, the Pathfinders. The Viserion archers send volleys of arrows into the Bleakwalkers' ranks. The precision of the archers shocks the heavily armed warriors as the Viserions find weak points between the thick plates of armour. With Gavin elite guard behind them and the line in front of them, the Bleakwalkers are forced to charge. This does not stop the Pathfinder from launching volley after volley in both the knights and their allied troops on the front line. Each volley lands with devastating effect as dozens of enemies drop to the bloody earth, clutching lethal arrow wounds, killing my people as well. Alright. Oh, now victory is within. Your troops push forwards with renewed vigour, while Galabin's army is slowly losing ground. Everyone charge! As the remainder of the forces charge, a horn sounds in the distance. A new contingent of warriors crest a nearby hill. Gavin's reinforcements charge headlong in the fray. Other troops clear triumphantly. Shouts of joy turn to roars of dismay as the new arrivals begin attacking Galvin's army. You make out the figure of Captain Emeria leading the charge in her dark armour. She kills one of the cabin's men with a well-armed pistol shot before running another through with a gleaming rapier. She fells one foe after another, pausing briefly at one point to salute you with her sword from across the battlefield. The betrayal by the reinforcements breaks the will of Gavin's regulars. They drop swords and shield and flee in battle, fled in full rot. Tom, Lord Gabbin slides through the carnage, his elite guard accompanying him. The day can still be mine if I take your head. Come now, it's time to put you down like the dog you are. Point your weapon at Gabbin. Just charge.
Your thoughts
Just
must
chop.
flow deeply indeed.
Nice. Lord Gabbin lies dead before you, his army scattered. Bloodied and exhausted, your remaining troops look to you, swords raised high in victory, chanting your name. Nice. Yeah, I didn't think the other commanders would have done that, because like I say, we kind of had to fight her last time. Holding the hem of his robe as he steps over several bodies, Chancellor Waring approaches you. Although his face is pale and he looks as if he will be sick at any moment, he forces a smile. While I'm grateful this dispute is finally over, it is regrettable so many lives were lost in the process. Gavin should have just been reasonable from the start. He gags involuntarily as the silk boot brushes against a severed head. In any event, as the legal arbiter of El Badner, I'm here to inform you that you've been declared the Thane of Deerwood, and Caed Noir has been recognised as your domain. I shall forever be thus, and will pass down to any descendants you may have in the future. Of course, now that your claim has been upheld, you are expected to forward a small portion of any taxes you collect to your rightful lord. I am grateful for assistance. I'll make sure the taxes are collected. Excellent. I'll inform El Badna that everything is in order. It appears my work is done. Feel free to visit the palace if... He steps in a pile of entrails with wet squish as he turns to leave. On second thoughts, I'll come and visit you, yes, perhaps in a year or 3. It's been an honour to serve you. I'll be making my way back to Gripen's Crest. The Earl has some urgent business for me there, unfortunately. Should you ever find yourself that far north, feel free to call me. I'd love to trade war stories with you over a cup or two. He grasps your hand briefly in a firm grip, then turns on his heel. Yeah, so was it Amiria? Yeah, after I battled her last time,